The South Carolina Hall of Fame was founded in Myrtle Beach in 1973 to recognize and honor contemporary and past citizens who have made outstanding contributions to South Carolina's heritage, history, and progress.
Dr. Walter Edgar, scholar, author, teacher, professor of history at the University of South Carolina since 1972, interpreter of South Carolina and Southern culture, not just in the classroom, but through books, lectures, radio, and TV. Walter Bellengrath Edgar was born in Mobile, Alabama in 1943. He received his B.A. from Davidson College in 1965 and subsequently his M.A. and Ph.D. from the University of South Carolina. Edgar served in the U.S. Army from 1969 to 1971, including a year as an advisor in Vietnam. Dr. Edgar has been the Claude Henry Neuffer Professor of Southern Studies at the University of South Carolina since 1995 and is the director of the Institute for Southern Studies. Edgar has taught thousands of USC undergraduates and directed many graduate students in their studies.
I met Dr. Edgar during the fall of 1974 and quickly determined that I wanted to do my doctoral work under him.
Dr. Edgar required you to do a tremendous amount of reading and writing. He wanted you to write. He felt like as a student that you need to be able to write, you needed to be able to express your thoughts, your ideas, and he really pushed you and he challenged you in that regard.
Dr. Edgar was the founder and first director of the Public History program at USC, offering graduate-level training in historic preservation, museum studies, and archival theory.
Walter, of course, has been a great asset both to the department as a whole and to me personally. He's just been a tremendous resource. I often joke with my colleagues that we'll all have to up our outreach, our public service, our attempt to be evangelical about history. We'll all have to triple that or quadruple it when Walter finally retires.
I mean, I think it says something about Walter's commitment to a broad intellectual understanding of topics that he's running one of the most successful interdisciplinary institutes that we have.
From the letter book of Robert Pringle in 1972 to his latest effort, the South Carolina Encyclopedia, Dr. Edgar's scholarship has been impeccable. He has achieved a reputation for academic excellence in the multitude of works he has edited, authored, or co-authored. Edgar's acclaimed South Carolina, A History, was the first comprehensive history of the state published in the last 50 years, described as the history of South Carolina for this generation. For this monumental work, along with his remarkable career of scholarship and teaching, Dr. Edgar was awarded South Carolina's Order of the Palmetto. He has also received honorary degrees and awards from many institutes of higher learning. Dr. Edgar is a lifelong student of South Carolina and Southern history and shares his knowledge with a broad audience. He frequently lectures before civic, patriotic, cultural, and historical organizations, as well as in schools and colleges throughout the state and nation. He is the congenial host of a weekly radio series, Walter Edgars Journal, on South Carolina's ETV Radio. Take on the South is a series of television debates produced for the Institute for Southern Studies by South Carolina ETV. Dr. Edgar eagerly participates in history workshops for South Carolina teachers.
Walter has an ability to tell wonderful stories, but he also integrates very sophisticated historical analysis in his storytelling. But he does it in a way that non-historical historians can understand and relate to.
Edgar has advised governors of South Carolina on issues such as government restructuring and race relations.
I don't know a governor that Dr. Edgar has not helped, whether it was race relations, whether it was the Confederate flag, whether it was restructuring state government. I'm not talking about mundane issues. We're talking about historical issues that change direction of a state, change the face of a culture.
Dr. Edgar's scholarly works have been cited in legal cases before the highest courts.
One such case in which both sides cited Walter Edgar's South Carolina history was the dispute over the title and governance of All Saints Episcopal Church, All Saints Waccamaw in Pawleys Island, South Carolina. That case represented a real turning point in how ecclesiastical and church disputes are handled.
Dr. Edgar is an enthusiastic supporter of the South Carolina Historical Society.
He has helped us raise funds. He has written about the society on a number of occasions. Of course, the documents here he frequently cites as his material for the wonderful works of history that he's produced.
Edgar is also active in his home community. Walter Edgar is not only an effective scholar and teacher of South Carolina history, but he makes history accessible to every South Carolinian.
We are a state with a rich and, sometimes tragic and sad history, but a rich history. And we need to be aware of that history. We need to study it. We need to learn from it. And nobody has done more than Walter to help the state do that.
Higher education is better off because of the likes of Dr. Walter Edgar. He epitomizes what every professor should really desire to be.